Here we go then, another week, another Zwift race.
You're joking. Not another one?
And another chance for me to get my legs ripped off, all in the name of fun, if that's what you want to call it. But as usual, an absolutely rapido start where it's just balls to the wall, full gas, your standard Zwift start. But this week I put my big boy pants on and I thought I'm gonna go in the A category. Not that it mattered because we were all in one race, so I could have been in the B and I'd have still been racing with them. But I thought, come on, be the big man this week, go into the A category, push yourself and see whether you can keep up, and also some redemption if you saw my last video and the pathetic sprint I put in. Let's see if I can do a bit of a better effort this week, but I'm not so hopeful. But the main thing was to cling on to this group for absolute dear life. So at the moment, I'm like way over threshold already, first minute, and I can already feel that I am clinging on. Now, the course we rode, it was another 3R racing one. Normally I pick races that are short because I know the pain is going to be over quick and I've just about got a little bit of stamina in me.
That's what she said.
But this week I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick a slightly longer race. Me thinking, if I pick a longer race, surely the pace is going to be slower and it's going to be a little bit easier for me. How bloody wrong was I? It was exactly the same pace as the last race. I just had to put up with double the pain. And I'll be honest, if it wasn't for me filming it and making a YouTube video out of it, I probably would have wrapped my bangers in because I was in a world of hurt as usual. But the course was like flat as a pancake and there was one little kicker sort of thing, like a false flat, and then another little bit where you come out of under a bridge. So main goal was stay near the front of this group while we're on this flat section. Like, I want to be in the draft, obviously, because I haven't got the power to be at the front, but I want to stay near the front because if some of the A's decide to absolutely ping it and a gap opens, there is absolutely zero chance these piddly little legs are closing the gap. So, to be transparent, I weighed myself the morning of this race. So, jumping on the scales, I can only apologise about these tiny little calves that are in video shot here. There is more meat on a KFC hot wing than my calves. They are embarrassing. But I weighed in at 67.2 kilos. I want to play fair, play the rules. I don't think you can put in like a 0.2. So I left my weight at 68 kilos. And obviously, towards the end of the day, I'd have been about 68 anyway. So fast forward on a little bit and I'm just clinging on for dear life here as usual. And what blows my mind is I know you're using your legs in a Zwift race and not your hands, but it's when people start writing comments and I'm thinking, I'm absolutely chewing the bar. I don't even have the brain power to write a comment, let alone reach to the laptop to write the comment, because I'm like hanging onto the bars, like just pedaling my backside off. But just here, I think Adam cracks a little joke, and fair play to him. It was actually quite funny and it kept me going a little bit. And to be honest, I think he was just having the time of his life, racing Zwift, cracking a few jokes. But we're going through the flats and just trying to stay in the group. It is quite a hard pace, fast pace, more than I expected. And then I see a comment pop up, which is you're coming through the flats and you come to this false flat. It's like a 3% climb. And the guy puts, should be warmed up now. We're going to rip it up the false flats before. What do you mean should be warmed up? I've been warmed up 5 minutes 45 seconds ago and these legs can't rip anything up there. So then I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe these people are taking it easy and this is going to suck in a minute. So coming up to 10 minutes in, it is literally no easier than the 20-minute race I done last time, but this race lasts 45 minutes, so I'm like, oh great, this is going to be seriously painful. Adam's still cracking jokes, keeping everyone smiling while we're going along, and we're coming up to the false flat section, which I'll whiz on to now. And this was like the main bit of the race when, for me, it was just absolutely balls to the wall to get up there and stay with the group. So as you're coming up to it, you can feel the pace rising, or you're having to put up more watts. Everyone's trying to get to the front because we're all getting twitchy bums, and we're thinking like it is about to get absolutely fast and furious up here. So you know, it's like everyone starts to ramp up, and it was a hard effort. It's only like probably 30-60 seconds, but I'm well over my threshold here, and I was already working hard anyway. And you can see here I'm over threshold, and I'm going backwards, and I'm thinking, how are all these people doing it? I'm doing like 5.6 watts per kilo up here, and I'm thinking, I can't believe I've got to do this again. But once you got one thing I did notice is once you've gone through that pain of like a 60-second surge up there, the pace dropped off, and it allowed me just enough time to recover. But I managed to stay with the group, and I knew just after this it was going to go downhill a bit, so I could ease a little bit and recover. But it was a real hard like 60-second effort just to stay with the group, and you can see on the map just how strung out it got. So that was the first little dig you had to do, and then there was one more little effort up a like gradual incline out of this underwater section just here, and it was the same scenario. Everyone's trying to get to the front because you know you're gonna, well for me anyway, I know I'm gonna slowly go back, but you had to absolutely put the burners on up here, kick it, and just get up there. Like I'm doing over 400 watts up here. What blows my mind is there's still like A's, B's, C's in this category, but yeah, a little like 30-second 400 watt up here to stay with the group, stay at the front. And then I was thinking hopefully it'll ease off again. Nope. But it didn't. It was as if, like you can see on the map, a couple of the red dots, which are A riders, obviously went to the front, and we were going over this bridge, and it was still just boom, 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 absolutely on it. And I'm thinking, here we go, stay in there, come on, at least survive to one lap. Or I was looking at the clock, and I thought at least survive to 20 minutes, and then you know you've given it a good shot. But I was digging deep here to stay with it, and eventually the pace did ease and we dropped below like 300 watts. But when I was at like 300 watts plus, I was like, oh my God, my legs are screaming at me. Why did I think this was a good idea? Why did I think this was good for training? So that is lap one coming to an end, and I was actually over the moon that I was still in the group at this point, because it was tough. Like my heart rate just goes up to sort of like what my threshold heart rate is, and then it just stays there. I was still in the group. The one thing I was thinking though was, oh my days, another lap of that. This is going to be painful. But through the flats again, nothing too interesting. And then onto the little ramp, little kicker. Everything's getting twitchy again now. We're all like, oh God, here we go. I was trying to get to the front, and I was like sort of mid-pack, but I had to bet, like this was all I had to get up here, like over 400 watts. I don't know how long for, but that for me is a big effort. That's like VO2 max, over VO2 max, but big effort here. And the heart, you can see the heart rate creeping up now. What we're at 181, and I'm thinking this is really killing the legs off. And I'm not going to lie, you can see me slowly drifting back here, and if it wasn't for this YouTube video, I was done. I was thinking I'm about to get spat. I'm trying absolutely everything to stay with them, and I'm like, please let the pace ease, please let the pace ease. But you can see the two red dots, the two A racers had really hit it up there, and you could see me, I was just dropping off the back here, and I'm thinking, this is bad news, this is bad news. And I had to put one little last 360 watt dig in just there, because I could feel myself slowly creeping back. And I thought, if I can just get to the group, I had to put like 360 watts in. I thought, if I can just get to the group, I'll get the benefit of the, they say draft, but I mean, I've never felt the benefit of that draft. But I did manage to that was me hanging on by a thread then to get up there. But thankfully everyone eased off on this downhill, and I was like, thank God, like I needed that to ease off. But I was this close to getting dropped, and that's why I've been liking filming these Zwift races, because it just pushes you that little bit harder. And for me, the Zwift racing pushes me so much harder than like a training session, because there's the carrot dangling. like there's a group, I've just got to keep up. Rather than just looking at the numbers of a training session, you've got a carrot dangling in front of you and you've got to keep busting your balls to stay with it. So it was all pretty chilled and the pace slowed a little bit after that last little climb, but I knew we had this one last kicker to get through, and I thought to myself, I need to hang in there on this one, because if I can hang in there, I can redeem myself and put out them big watts in the sprint. Unlikely, but I was like, one last big effort, just absolutely tank it up here. And before that, I was like at the back of the group, but I got up to like 500 watts then, and I absolutely flew up there. And I was like, I'll tell you what, maybe I'm on for a good sprint here. But up that last little kicker, and then it was just time to try and recover as much as I can, because I was thinking this week, like, I've been doing a lot of sprint training, let's actually put a sprint in this week and try and show that the sprint training has been paying off. But we'll whiz on to that now and see how that sprint training is going. So here we go then, last kilometre, and it is my time to shine. It's my time to pull the pin, put out some big watts and show you what my sprint is all about. So the problem was though, you know, last kilometre, it starts to ramp up and it is a hard effort. And I have realised I think I need to practice sprinting after a hard effort, as opposed to a lot of my sprint sessions. Yeah, I want to get a better sprint, but I'm always doing it like during a zone 2 workout when I'm fresh as a daisy. The problem is, your man's not got a sprint when he's blowing out of his rear. So at this point, I'm thinking 500 metres to go. When am I going to pin it? When am I going to pin it? And I think pretty soon, maybe it's 0.4, 0.3, someone pings it off the front. Is it now? Oh, yeah. So see, that guy's pinged it. I went to do a sprint and there it is. Look at them big watts. There's big 500 watts. And then I realised, oh, absolutely nothing. And it was a case of just rolling over the line, and yet again, a pathetic sprint. It must be these little calves. But I finished 35th out of the whole race. And I think on Zwift Power, I was 27th or something like that. I'll pop it up on the screen. And for me, it was 284 watts for just under 46 minutes, which puts me at 4.2 watts per kilo. I was happy with that. And it has actually now promoted me into the big ranks of the A category on Zwift Power. So I'm going to have to pull my finger out and probably actually learn how to sprint when I'm hanging out. But it's all good fun, and I am determined to win a Zwift race. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.